Welcome to the White Knuckling It podcast with Justin Burt
No, we got out of the life of the pre-roll.
and Mitchell O'Brien.
It was in his butt.
They share their experiences from white knuckling sobriety to becoming successful and living life in recovery.
Yeah, boy.
Welcome back to White Knuckling It podcast. I'm Justin Burke. Mitchell's gone on vacation this week, which is good. We all need to take vacation once in a while. So I decided to do this by myself today. And I'm going to share something with you guys I was listening to on like another podcast show type thing. It's by Tucker Carlson. He does kind of get a little political, but not really. But he's got a really good message about harm reduction and things like that. Because me personally, I don't believe in harm reduction. It's either you're in it to quit or you're just prolonging the pain and suffering. So I'm going to just get right into it and play this little clip for you.
We spend all our time talking about, but what we never talk about is the zombies walking under public transportation there. And they're not zombies, actually. They're Americans with names. And they're dying. And he doesn't care. And giving them a safe place to shoot up is not love, it's hate. That's hate. I don't care what they call it. And that's what I mean about language. They can dress up hate as love. Oh, that's love, it's compassion. It's caring. It's harm reduction. Really? Your kid comes home and is like, I'm a junkie. You're like, well, here's some needles. I'm gonna give you some time in your room to shoot fentanyl. What? You're gonna chain him to the freaking radiator until he gets better. Of course, or do whatever you can to get that child off a drug that can and will kill him. You would never make it easier for your kid to kill himself. And that's exactly what they're doing. And then they're lecturing you about harm reduction. You're evil, actually. That's how I feel when I hear that, having lost a lot of people I love to drugs. I bet there's not one person in this room who doesn't know someone who's died from drugs. You think Josh Shapiro stays up late worrying about that? No, he stays up late worrying that Ukraine doesn't have enough weapons of mass destruction to win some unwinnable war. You're evil, if that's your concern. So the only way you judge people is by the effects of what they do. You judge the tree by the fruit. And you can say, well, I'm a lemon tree. I'm a lemon tree. Bright orange, tart, but delicious with Diet Coke. I'm a lemon tree. Really? Because those are pomegranates, honey. Those aren't lemons. You're lying. You are not a lemon tree. Those are pomegranates. I know, because there's the fruit. You can tell me you care about the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but they're dying of drug ODs, and you're doing nothing other than sending more weapons of mass destruction to some creepy guy in a tracksuit. And that's the other thing that enraged me, and I didn't expect.
Well, I'm going to stop it right there. But yeah, he was talking about the mayor of Philadelphia, Josh Shapiro, I believe is how he pronounced his name, about how he was more worried about a war that continues to go on than about his own citizens in his city of Philadelphia. You know, well, we'll just give him a safe place to shoot up. Well, has that ever really been safe for any of us besides for someone's there to Narcan us back? Why wouldn't we try to get these people the resources to actually better their lives with substance use disorder, as far as going to an inpatient program, or maybe let's try to funnel some money into some sober living houses? That would really make a lot more sense to worry about our own people who sit here and die every day And in that episode, he did talk about how when he was walking down the streets of Philadelphia, how he was walking by a guy and he didn't know if he was sleeping or if he was dead from an OD because there was syringes around this gentleman. And it really breaks my heart to see this happening. That, you know, it's that old saying, well, it was a choice. They made a choice. Yeah, I made a choice to have a fun time, but that choice became a very highly dependency on a substance that I didn't know that was capable of taking over my life because I was uneducated. I didn't know things. And that happened to me for a very, very long time. It led me down a very dark, lonely road. And it wasn't until I was probably about 32 when I finally realized that I had a problem. And I had brought my problem up to two people I thought that cared about me after being caught with syringes and lying about it, saying they were for fishing, to inject air into my plastic lures, like the rubber ones, so that way they would float different and have different appeal to fish. I mean, when we're in active addiction, we can make anything sound good and dress it up really nice. But the moral of the story is I literally had a problem. And when I finally opened up that I actually had a problem, instead of trying to help find me a way out of it, it was like there was nothing there, even after I admitted I had a problem. Now, is it because of the community I lived in didn't want to admit that there was a major problem within our community of drugs and the rate of how well it was destroying our community? I don't think so, because that brings a bunch of shame and guilt to the community. Well, why aren't we doing something better, you know? And I still hear all the time when I go back home of what was their choice to put that in their arm. Yeah, it started out as maybe a choice, as fun, but then it becomes something way more destructive that we never realized would take a hold of us. You know, that's the funny thing about addiction. People that battle addiction know about addiction. People that's never battled addiction or have gone through it themselves, they don't know what's going on. You just cannot stop. You know, so that cliche, well, just don't do it. Just stop. Well, that doesn't work for us. And it probably will never work for us. You know, we have to come to the conclusion that we do want to stop. So providing safe measures for us to keep using, that's just prolonging something. Why don't we educate these people and give them some statistics and show them that there is a better way to live than to, well, just do it here. Well, instead of drinking a fifth a night, how about you just drink a 6-pack? Either way, you're still feeling an addiction. And there's nothing safe about either one, because eventually it will shut down your kidneys. It will shut down your liver. And you have no other choice but to keep doing it, because it becomes a habit. It becomes an addictive. Your body depends on it. And it really hurts my heart to know that, you know, there's not enough education out there around substance use disorder. There's not enough people preaching substance use disorder and how to achieve recovery. There's just not. And it's not just in your small little community. It happens all over America, all over the world. And it's just going to keep happening until we finally stand up to it and say, well, how do we get this to stop? Well, it's easy. How about we use some of this federal money that we send all over the world, to help out our own people and actually get them the help they need. Like, let's try to make more sober living homes so that way people struggling with addiction don't have to go back home and live with their dope dealer, or go back home where the liquor store is right there on the corner of their community where they live at. Like, is that fair for these people? But you want them to stop. Well, why don't you just quit doing it? Well, why don't we provide them safe places to live, safe communities, not safe places to go use? Like, let that sink in for a minute. We will provide them a safe place to go use, like as a wet house, or a safe place to go use dope, provide them all the stuff to do it. But why wouldn't we provide those same people with that safe place to live in that safe community and provide them therapy, provide them some psychiatric care, and to get to the root why they use, and hopefully they can overcome it like I did. Like, it's such a pain to actually be able to overcome addiction. It really is. Because you don't want to relive that childhood trauma or whatever trauma that got us to use. I've heard some people say, well, there was no trauma. It was just fun. It started out just fun, hanging out with the guys. We're hanging out with the ladies. But why don't we focus on setting up more safe places? I personally live around the Traverse City area. I can count on pretty much my two hands how many sober living houses there are in Traverse City. And it's not enough to house people that are in recovery. 2, 4, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 sober living houses in the Traverse City area. That's nowhere near the amount that we need for people struggling. Like, it totally blows my mind. But let's go out here and push, well, here's safe kits and this and that. But why not funnel this money into opening up more sober living homes, or maybe even a graduate home to, like, it'd still be like sober living, but a little bit more freedom, like a graduate house, like an in-between. Because some sober living homes are like transitional homes where you enter them and you have IOPs and you do so many things, and then you transition into another place where after you get a job and you're working and you start saving up money so that way you can eventually get your own apartment. Being in recovery just doesn't happen overnight for anybody. Like, you just can't get out of treatment and be like, I'm never using again, and then send them back home where they have no resources in their community. Why don't we build communities to house these people? The true people that's really struggling, and actually give them safe places to be, instead of, well, you got to ride home from treatment? Yeah, sure I do. And next thing you know, they're calling up the doughboy and they're getting high on their way home after they just did their 30, 60, or 90 days in treatment. They're already getting high because they didn't have no other people out there, because most of us in addiction have trashed every relationship we've ever had. For me, it really came home to me last weekend when I did go home back to my mom's house for my birthday. My birthday was the 15th. I think I got to my mom's house on the 18th. So it was a couple days later when I was actually able to go down there on the weekend. And me and my mom were going through some dishes she bought at the thrift store, because I did finally get my own house. And she was helping me out. And my grandpa pulled up and he goes, man, it must be nice to have a good mom in your life that actually truly cares about you. And for a lot of years, I did say that my mom didn't care about me. She didn't do things the way I wanted her to do them because she wasn't giving me money to go do what I wanted to do with it. So there was hatred there because, you know, she was my mom. She's supposed to support me, this and that. And it really hurt me when he said that because I had to relive those days and trauma days of how much trash I talked. It really brought a lot of shame and guilt. And when I went back inside to help my mom get things ready for dinner because we were going to grill out, she was like, your grandfather just stuck up for me. I was like, yeah, and he really hurt my feelings. And she was like, you know, Justin, that was well deserved. She goes, you don't realize how many times you hurt my feelings in this. In the process of you being angry, hateful, and everything else. She was, and I had to remember those times that I did do those things and was very hurtful and very mean. And it really drew me back into reality. You know, words really do cut deep, sometimes more than actions. And I have to be mindful of that. And that's one thing I am working on today is being more mindful of everything I have going on in my life and knowing that how my words and how I present things and how my tone is addressed in certain things. And I'm practicing being more mindful of that so that way I can really grow and prosper and be a better human being than what I was the day before. And I think that's all I got for this week. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. Please go to whiteknucklingit.com where you can find more episodes. We do have Facebook and X. And if you want to shoot us an email, info@whiteknucklingit.com. Look forward to hearing from you guys. Later.
Thanks for listening to the White Knuckling It podcast. For more details on the show and for more episodes, log on to whiteknucklingit.com.